What's going on, Flip Talking? Today we're doing the debate of manga versus comics. Now, I am gonna warn you, I'm a little biased. As you can tell, I like manga a lot. I did own at one point a massive omnibus collection, which I sold almost all my American comics. I keep a lot of indie stuff because I feel like the true creativeness in the American comic scene, or just the comic scene, the non-manga scene, is coming from the indies. We're talking about Image Comics, Boom Studios, IDW. Some of the most fun I've had reading non-manga comics is through those particular brands, but this video is going to be focusing on DC and Marvel and what I think they could learn from manga. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is definitely the reboots. DC tends to reboot their universe a lot. You had the New 52, and then now you have Rebirth. And that is the purpose of that is to get new fans in so that they can start at issue 1. You can jump right in and join in on issue 1. But then again, Rebirth, some stuff did carry over from the New 52. So if you're going in from a new fan point of view, you might be a little overwhelmed. You know, Batman's got 70 years now of lore. Not all of it is, not all of it is relevant now to Batman now. But a lot of it is, and you have to go in and you have to you kind of get clueless at some of the callbacks and some of the throwbacks. But with manga, you can start at volume 1. And I know a couple of my comic friends who think manga is stupid. They look at One Piece, for instance, and they go, wow, that's 92 volumes long. It's like, yeah, it's 92 volumes long, which is quite a lot, honestly. But you start at volume 1, and when you start at volume 1, if you don't like it, you can drop it. There's no artist change, there's no writer change. It's going to be that series for 92 volumes. You don't need to know anything else about it, unless it's a direct sequel series, like, Kami Got Kill has a Kami Got Kill 0. So you don't have to know anything else. You can pick up Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage, volume 0 or 1, depending on what you want to do, and you can jump right in. You can start with Berserk, volume 1, without knowing anything else. You start right here, and you can have a great time enjoying this series blindly. You can't do that with a lot of American superhero comics. Another thing I want to talk about, which I kind of hinted at, is there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many writers, and there's too many artists doing one series. You get some great runs. There are some phenomenal runs on American superhero comics. Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run is phenomenal. Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Batman, the New 52, was kick-ass. But once the run's over, you might not like the artist. So if you get super hooked on a character, super in love, like let's say Batman, and then once a writer changes, like if you don't like, I can't think of the guy who's writing, Tom King, I believe, is the guy who's writing Batman right now, or was writing Batman for Rebirth. I know some people don't like that guy's writing style. So if you don't like his writing style, that just sucks, because you could have liked Snyder's writing style, which Snyder's Batman was phenomenal. But you might not like the new guy's writing style. You might not like the new artist. That's the other thing is, for instance, Marvel, they have this really epic series where it's Annihilation, Conquest, Prelude to War of the Kings, Realm of Kings. It's just epic. Like we're talking thick omnibuses. Like there's 6 of them. It's this epic sci-fi series, or 5 omnibuses. And while I enjoyed it a lot, reading it, there were so many writer changes that it just kind of killed the momentum at certain points. And also the artist changes kind of took me out. Like this epic sci-fi series should have, I thought, started off with some great artwork and then dipped in some points. And that's not to say the artists are bad, it's just not for me personally. And that's something I like. Like you can like a manga artist's writing more than their art. For instance, I don't think Urasawa is a terrible artist, but he does suffer from same face, where a lot of the characters look exactly the same, but his writing is so phenomenal. Ultraman, if you don't like the way it's written, if you don't like the way it looks, that's fine. But with comics, you can get so attached to a character, and then it can be a completely different character 6 issues later, and that whiplash kind of takes you out of the experience. Now, another thing I want to talk about is events. Event comics, for manga fans who don't know, because this isn't really a thing in manga, is events are basically, think of them like arcs, like an arc in a story, like the Golden Age arc or the Conviction arc in Berserk. But instead of having its own you know, like let's say there's 6 issues. Let's say it's 6 issues. And instead of having its own 6 issue arc, you're gonna have to get the full story. You're gonna have to get one issue of Spider-Man 200 or Captain America 192 or Thor issue 98. I'm just saying random numbers, but you have to get all these issues from different series that you might not even give a crap about to get the full story. And Marvel, more so than DC, is super guilty of events. They cranked 2 pretty terrible events back to back. Civil War 2 was awful, and then Hidden Kingdom, or no, not Hidden Kingdom. It's the one where I don't know the name, but Captain America turned into a Nazi. They made him like almost like a Nazi character, and both of those I just thought were awful. It was just rehashed stuff, nothing new, nothing unique, nothing. It didn't add anything to the lore of these characters, and it was just bad. Marvel has slowed down on events, but where I think comics are succeeding is in the indie stuff, which is doing the exact same thing that manga is doing. You see, for instance, I'm gonna do a separate video on comics for manga fans. But the thing I'm gonna talk about most is Saga. I think Saga is one of the best written comics of all time. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Apple are just an amazing duo, and that's what you're getting. You're getting one writer, one artist, the whole series. That's their baby. That's what they're focusing their energy on, and it is amazing. I wish that was happening more in Cape comics, but then you got stuff like Berlin, Blankets, Sabrina. I'm looking over at my American Comics shelf. I even got the Walking Dead box set up here, which even though people crap on the Walking Dead, the comic is phenomenal, and the comic is written by Robert Kirkman, and the artist does change, but it keeps that black and white style. Another comic that I think, sadly, I sold all of it. I sold a lot, all of it for a pretty penny, but the Hellboy universe. I was a huge, massive Hellboy fan, and I think Mike Mignola, sorry, stuttering. He had complete say over everything in the Hellboy universe, which made it feel incredibly unique. Now, the artists do change, but Mike handpicked artists that kind of represent, that kind of mimicked his style a little bit, and it definitely showed. So I think those are the main problems with superhero comics, is that, one, it's too convoluted to get into, especially if you haven't kept up with it for so long. And I think that's true with any hobby. If you get into manga right now, there's hundreds of series that you either are going to pick up and love or you're going to pick up and hate, and there's so many series. Like, I'm just looking at my shelves, I got Vinland Saga, Shaman King, Yona of the Dawn, Gundam. So that's true for any hobby, but for comics, in my opinion, it's definitely a little bit more convoluted. Also, the events ruin it for me, and then the artist change and the writer change definitely take me out of the experience a lot. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, like I said, I'm a little biased. I do like manga. I like manga quite a lot. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Which one do you guys like? I'm not saying all comics are bad, not all superhero comics are bad. There are some fantastic superhero comic series, like I mentioned, Zack Snyder and Greg Capullo's new 52 run on Batman. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and let's talk. Let's shoot the shit on comics and manga. I'm Flip Otaku, and I'll see you guys next time.